Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of From Season 2, Episode 7, The Belly of the Beast. Who doesn't love that title? Anytime you see something titled that, you know it's going to be great. Who still wants to take baths after the end of this episode? I like baths. I'm a bath guy. I want to get like one of those trays, you put on the tub and you put like a glass of wine there and you just like chilling, having a nice relax. You guys will not take this away from me, even though you really tried at the end of this.
Talking about things that we really enjoy. Anybody else excited to see Smiley back for that
What?
second?
No,
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 just me.
no.
Listen, I don't want anything to happen to our group, obviously, but I'm telling you, the minute that Muriel was having this dream
Yeah.
and like there he was, I was like, here we go. He's back. Oh my God. I mean, I was disappointed it turned out to be a dream. I do want to see him back. I mean, he was such a creep show. I just absolutely
Was.
loved him.
I will say this. They did a really good job with that because there are a couple of other shows that I will not even fully name here, but I think they are getting way too much into the it was just a dream trope that they're doing it over and over where to the point where I'm just like, okay, this is clearly a dream. I did not know it was a dream when that was happening because they've done a good enough job of setting up this world that like of course it's possible that Smiley is just back around going crazy all over Marielle. Like I was worried for her.
I was as well, but I mean, we're gonna get into all of that because I've got some theories on like what is going on.
Okay, well, before we do dive further into that, be sure to also check out our Patreon. We have a link for you guys in the description below. And recently, Jess and I recorded a new exclusive from discussion over there that
Yep.
really takes a look at why these people in particular are there. What are their
Mhm.
commonalities? There's a lot to get into when it comes to this particular group, and there might be more common threads than you would even realize on the surface.
Also, we're thinking about covering The Walking Dead, Dead City. It's coming up soon, but we wanted to know from you guys, are you guys planning to watch? Like, do you
Mhm.
want us to cover that here? Also, if you're not watching Silo,
Yeah.
it is so good and it has a lot of similarities to this show. It's on Apple TV. We're covering that here as well. So hit that subscribe button.
Thank you guys so much. And okay,
Okay, let's
let's
just start with Smiley and everything
yeah.
that was going on here because he is seemingly dead.
Yeah.
They have, cut him open, took a look at everything. They brought him inside, which was, really risky. I was quite surprised actually that they did bring him inside. I
Yeah.
know that they wanted to keep it quiet. They didn't want anyone to see, but like you couldn't go around the back and do it outside just in case, like I don't know. I wouldn't be taking any chances like that to bring him inside my place, but that's fine. That's what they did. I mean, they had some nice little scares in
Yeah.
there where, he moved for a second. I was like, oh my goodness. Are they just going to take everybody out? But it was really fascinating when they actually, took off the sternum, looked inside. What's inside? Human organs. Like everything is where it's supposed to be. It's just there's no blood running through the veins and that, everything is kind of shriveled up, but everything is where it's supposed to be, which is where I was starting to kind of be like, maybe the experiment theory is correct that they were humans at one point. I mean, if everything is where it's supposed to be, could they be human at one point? They had been experimented on and it turned into this, where there is still that wonderful supernatural, sci-fi feel to it, which I'm very much hoping is part of it. But like, why would everything be where it's supposed to be if they weren't human at one point? What has happened to turn them into this? How are they functioning with no blood?
It's I
You
mean,
got blood? No blood, but you got bile?
it's
Like why?
it's interesting. Like and this is the thing I'm grateful about is they're finding a way to make these different than, your typical Walking Dead-esque zombie or, clicker on The Last of Us or like any of this other sort of stuff. They
Yeah.
have a distinct identity and sort of one of the things that, I'm kind of thinking a little bit about and we recently also did a video talking about all these different theories that are going on in the world of From and
Yeah,
this
it's here at the channel, so you
yeah,
can check that out.
one of the things I said in there is just that I really like this idea of a pocket universe in some way, or something within sort of a larger universe. And maybe the rules sort of dictate that in this universe, these monsters are the people, and they are acting out because they're out for vengeance over what they feel like are invaders into their own universe.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe just in this universe, this is how it works. Like, maybe there's not even a real scientific explanation for it. It's just, this is how evolution dictated them. And now they still need bile. They don't need blood. They apparently live at night or whatever else. But I will say, I am 100% with you that under no circumstance am I bringing that body inside. Like, that is absolutely no way, no how. You don't know what it is carrying. You don't know what Smiley is bringing in.
No, just bring the table outside, put it around the back. Like, I understand that it's not that easy to drag a dead body around. For those of you who don't know, I'm a former funeral director. I have moved hundreds of dead bodies in my lifetime, and I am small. I'm only 5 feet tall. Like, I'm a pretty small person, and moving them with a sheet, I could move a house. But once you've got them on a table, especially one that it looked like down there that they might be able to move it all together. I mean, just move the table.
Number one, I could move a house. You need to put that on like your Twitter bio or something like that.
I could.
See,
if I have a sheet, I can move a house.
I cannot move a house, everybody. I am weak. But this, I think...
I am not that strong either, but a sheet will really help you out.
Apparently, a sheet is like a superpower. No, it is... This is a...
Trick of the trade.
I do not have that trick. And I think really, the thing I'm most curious about is... everything. I don't think the after effects of Smiley are even going to play out necessarily in the next episode. I think that if this is a situation where, let's just call it, there is a Smiley essence, a monster essence, if you will, that there's something that is a part of these bodies that is airborne, that is functional, that can spawn or enable them to come into different places. Like, you're sort of setting off a ripple effect. And we've seen this play out earlier on in the series, albeit in a much more sudden way, where, if one person comes in, all of a sudden, a number of them can come in, and all chaos can ensue. And this is a show that likes carnage. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. I think things are going to go in a very carnage-y direction in a week or two.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, is that, we saw that Boyd had this, blood worm, disease, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And that it got transferred from Martin to him, then he took it and he transferred from himself to Smiley. But if Smiley doesn't have blood, then what happened to it? Like, it just went into the body and maybe died? Or did it end up actually in the bile? Is that something that they're able to use? I mean, this show is really good at not answering things, but then piling on more and more and more sort of mystery of like, where can it go from here? And now we saw Boyd holding this very small bottle of bile. What can he do with this? Are the worms in there? Can it still be transferred? I mean, it's not the same fluid.
It's not the same fluid, and there's also a very big assumption that, understandably is being made, because if I am Boyd, I'm not in that different a position where I'm just desperate to get rid of what is happening in this town, and so I'm just been like, hey, this worked for Smiley, let's just try to do it with somebody else. But just because, something counteracted and took out Smiley, it may not work for anybody else who's coming around at night. You don't know.
Especially since it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Originally, this was, these worms that were in this blood, and now, it's gone into somebody with no blood. It's like, oh, we'll just take whatever fluid you got. Okay, bile, great, we'll make that work. Which brings us into Elgin then, because there's obviously something very strange going on with him. Like, he sort of had this dream while he was on the bus and was kind of like, stop the bus. Like, we got to get out of here kind of thing. There's something going on with him that he is not really sharing with really much of anybody. Like, he's talked a little bit to Julie about it and talked to her again, in this episode about it. Was just like, oh, I had this dream. As I'm so close to it and I couldn't get there with it. And she gives him this suggestion to take a bath and sort of bring the water to his ears, and it kind of gives you a little bit of calm, and then maybe he'll be able to pull it out. But then we saw, he gets pulled under the water and whatever, but he saw that music box. So I'm just like, does he have this same sort of blood thing going on and he's brought it to the town?
I think it's certainly possible, and I think there's maybe even
Because like Martin saw the music box, he
yeah,
had it. Boyd saw the music box, he had it, and now Elgin.
like there's some sort of commonality here. It's either sort of a collective consciousness sort of thing where being in this town, there's like certain memories and things that multiple different people can access all at one time, or if we're going along with the experiment idea, maybe this is something that's like being implanted along the way on certain people. I think there should be something that collectively they can all do to sort of share notes, maybe pass a couple of things along. This is one of my bigger frustrations with these people, not really the show as a whole. I want like some from council meetings where I just give me everybody in one roof at this point, because Boyd's got to tell everybody about what's going on with
Does
him.
he?
He doesn't have to, but it's a big red bill. I'm going rogue, everybody. If you don't like it, too bad. It's a very tricky
Hey,
thing.
listen, information is really important, and not everybody can handle information. I mean, we've seen people getting stabbed over nothing in this town, right? Like certain people may not take the information very well. That's why when they were like, don't tell anybody that we're bringing Smiley inside and that we're going to do what we're going to do with him and, open him up and check out what's going on. Yeah, maybe not everybody's going to be able to handle that information. I mean, Kenny wasn't handling it that well either, where he
No.
was just like, Christy, I love you. Like, I can't sit here and watch you do this. This is like such a huge mistake.
You guys need to get on the same page here. Now, we covered Ted Lasso and Ted Lasso's over. Do we need Ted Lasso to come into this town and coach all of you people to be a better team and actually tell each other everything and not fight or like distrust each other? No, here, I'm just gonna go ahead and say one of my crazier ideas.
All right.
Does Victor know more than he's letting on? And I think
100%.
Okay.
100%.
He's
He's been there a long time. He definitely knows more.
And I think he knows that Ethan is in some ways tied to this, however it may be, and that, Ethan has the whole quest idea. And I kind of believe a part of it, but regardless of if you do or not, I think he is very purposeful with the people he is close to, the communications that he's having. And I don't necessarily think that he knows the solution, but I think he knows that there is a solution and a path to it, and there's certain people who are probably going to be important or involved. And I think he is probably the poster child for being opposite of the very thing that I'm asking for, which is the from council meeting, where he's just probably like, you people really can't handle the truth because you'll really think I'm, just a resident crazy person, and you guys kind of already think this anyway.
I mean, it makes sense that Victor really wouldn't be able to kind of explain himself that well. I mean, he grew up in this place basically by himself. He was there as a child, everybody died, and then he sort of had to try to develop by himself without any parents or role models or anybody else around to really help him out. So it makes sense then that he's connecting to Ethan because they're kind of mentally the same age, and you see them interacting where Victor's still mad, and he's mad that the what a crappy gift you gave me, the orange is dried up. Like, I think that even though he knows more, he doesn't know everything, but because he knows more, I think he just has a very difficult time communicating what it is he knows. And because people don't really take him that seriously, which is totally strange to me, because even though he's unable to really communicate things, he is the person who has been there the longest. And so he's going to have some knowledge on things that it's like, how do you get it out of him?
You touched on one thing in there that's very, very important to my bizarre pseudo galaxy brain idea that time is moving very differently in this world than it is the real world, the real actual universe, in that I think the reason that Victor is still so childlike and doesn't have an evolved brain is in the real world, he's still a child. And that this world is moving at a very separate speed than what's going on in this real world. He and Ethan could have been really, really good friends. And the problem here, though, is, of course, everybody's got this perception of him. And that perception of him is now very, very hard to break, especially because everybody is so caught up in the what is going on with me? What are my theories? Everybody in From wants to be the hero of this story, and sometimes there can only be one hero, and sometimes there are no heroes, and you just got to do what you got to do.
Okay, let's talk about Jim and what is going on now. Now that he has access to this drone, he wants to get his antenna up even higher and try again to reach the person on the other end of this radio. But I'm kind of sitting back being like, okay, Jim thinks that this is an experiment
Yeah.
and, that this is what's going on. But if the person that's on the other end of the radio is actually somebody who's either controlling the experiment or part of the experiment or whatever, they're not going to give you that information anyways. It's not like you're going to get back on the radio and be like, hey, it's Jim again. You want to tell me what's going on? They're going to be like, you got me. All right, let me just tell you what's going on. But it was very interesting that it was brought up that if this is an experiment, that there is probably a plant in this town. And I absolutely agree with that. I mean, we just did something for Silo. We mentioned this earlier in the video. It has kind of similar themes that are going on where everybody's sort of trapped in this place and they don't know everything that's going on. It's so good. I won't give anything away over there. But
Mhm.
the idea that there's going to be an experiment that's at this scale and there isn't somebody who's actually behind the experiment involved and in this town to sort of keep an eye on things, I mean, it completely makes sense. For me, I'm hoping that it's not just an experiment. I mean, I want there to be some sort of supernatural feeling ties to it because man, you just don't get really good sci-fi shows
Yeah.
really anymore in that supernatural element. But, if it's an experiment, who in this town knows about it? I think there is somebody there. If it's an experiment, they would be there.
If it is an experiment, yeah, I agree. There would be somebody. Like, do I think it's an experiment? No, I'm kind of my theory may be somewhat separate from yours, but I think we both share that commonality where I think there's enough other worlds and universes and TV stuff that are experiments. I don't.
It doesn't need to be an experiment. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be a dream.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it be a video game. Like we've seen a lot of that already play out.
Yeah. Now, Jim, I'm just going to talk to you for a moment here. I don't blame you for thinking that it's an experiment, though, because this is a theory that I could see, myself even coming up with if I'm in that world. You get paranoid, things start to go awry. But yeah, you talked about this drone idea. This idea sucks, Jim. I don't know why you thought in a million years this was ever going to work. If somebody knows that this is an experiment, they're going to know the materials that you have in there. They're going to know what you're going to do with them. They're going to have enough safeguards that you're never going to exactly figure things out. You were better off finding, the mole, if you will, of Fromville here and going and trying to squeeze that information out of them. But odds are, if they are a plant and this whole scheme is this elaborate, they have probably done an extensive amount of training that neither you nor Boyd nor anybody else in this town would ever be able to break in a million years.
I absolutely loved the conversation with Tabitha and Jade and them just revealing what they've seen, what's been going on, these visions that they've been having. I mean, Jade has become easily one of my favorite characters. Like when he first showed up, I was like, oh my God, I got to watch this guy all season. Please, Smiley, just come and take care of this guy. And he has easily become one of my absolute favorites. Like, yeah, he has his highs and lows and he can be, whatever. But when he has these moments where he's really connecting with people and sharing information, sharing ideas, he's just so compelling to watch. And so seeing the two of them share, I've seen, a bunch of different things. And Tabitha being like, I've only seen this one thing, but I've seen him multiple times now. it was just very cool to see it come together. And she's now revealed that she has seen these symbols
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Like, that is where things get even more interesting, just because there's an established lore, and
Yeah.
there is sort of this idea of, okay, was somebody here before all of us? Was somebody even here pre-Victor? Or are people doing this and not even knowing that they're doing this? Is there that like element of mind control that is, because this is all close enough to these people that, you know, you would think if somebody's like carving this stuff out or doing something, you would kind of get the sense of it, or there would be a couple of clues, and it's just all proof kind of there. I appreciate Jade and Tabitha very much for this exchange of information, something that is clearly rare in this show. Now, can we give Donna an opportunity to be involved in more of this stuff? Because let Donna cook. That is the thing I gotta say. Donna is Donna's one of my favorite characters on this show. She's always involved in something, and no matter what it is, even if I don't agree with her all the time, I'm just like, Donna, just talk your talk.
Donna's speech to Fatima and her, letting Donna know, hey, I'm pregnant. I was told I was never gonna be able to be pregnant, and now here I am. Like, how do I trust it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Donna's speech was just so inspirational, and with a show that's as dark as this, like some of the things that I've really enjoyed are characters like Ellis or Fatima, who are a little more positive, on the positive side, trying to make things work, trying to sort of see the best in things, and to see Donna be that person to be like, this is amazing. Like, yeah, we have a lot of other things are happening. Like, I think the dirt is poison, nothing will grow, but you'll grow another person. Like, what an amazing thing in a place that can be this dark, that there can also be good here and things that are growing. You met the love of your life here, and now you guys are going to be having a kid. I was just like, man, what a great moment. And then when Donna's like, I wish I could have been there when you told Ellis, and she's like, well, I haven't told him yet. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, we're going to get that scene. She tells him, and then cut to something else. I was like, really? You guys just took that from me? That was the only part of the episode that I was like, come on, like, give us a little bit of joy. I would have loved to have seen his reaction to it and just give us a smile.
I'm just waiting until the moment that they just kill off Donna for me to be really, really upset.
No,
I don't want it.
Why are you putting that?
I just said let Donna cook. Like, she's one of my favorite. It's just like,
and then you were like, I'm gonna be sad when they kill her.
They're gonna kill her. Like, I think it's gonna happen. I don't, because they never let us have nice things. Donna's too precious.
No.
Okay. Here's the thing that, I can't be mad about this yet, but I am very worried about this baby is a miracle thing, that we're going down the road of the baby as the chosen one, which, please do not let the baby be the chosen one. Do not
Ethan is the chosen one. Possibly, Victor as well. I mean, he's been there this whole time.
Yeah, I'm more than fine with any of that. I mean, even just make Boyd the chosen one, just because Harold Perrineau is playing him, and that kind of guarantees that you're not going to kill him
He's
off.
Awesome. No, they're not going to kill. Why are you killing off all my favorite people?
I don't want to. I just say this is why they won't get rid of him, because he is the lead. You need to have him on the poster looking awesome. No, this is a really good episode with like a lot of different stuff firing off on all places. I think it's great that we have a little bit more information about Smiley, all the monsters, but at the same time, this is the classic From fashion where they're just like, you guys thought you figured something out, didn't you?
Yeah, but they actually gave us a little more information. I think opening up Smiley and seeing that all his organs are where they're supposed to be, and, they're seemingly kind of functioning like them. Like, yeah, there's no blood and they look shriveled, but they're where they're supposed to be, and there is bile, so that's functioning. Like, I think they've given us quite a bit of information.
Well, we will all have to cherish this dearly now as we wait for the final few episodes of this season. And especially because we jumped on this show and watched so much of it all at once that it's
I
gonna be
know.
even harder when it's over because now we're just like, okay, we watched all this in weeks and now we're gonna wait years.
Absolutely love this show.
Yeah.
Years.
Well, there's no season 3 yet, but I'm just if it
Oh,
gets
there
renewed,
will be. Why? Why you gotta say all these
I'm
things? Don't
saying
put that out there.
it's going to get renewed.
It's
but
going to
just
get
like, if you guys if everybody just pays the writers, we can get it a little bit faster. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
But okay, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Check out our Patreon discussion we mentioned earlier. The link is in the description. Thank you to everyone who has joined our Patreon. We really appreciate your support, and we will see you here next time.